In this video, we're going to check out some of the settings in the Tesla Model 3. I'm going to go over some of the weird kind of ones so you get to know this car even better. This is meant for people who have not purchased the car or who just got the car or are considering the car and looking at some of those features that are all over this car, all scattered in there, you know, scattered in the computer, waiting for you to find them.
You're making it brighter, right through the gray.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. My name is Taylor. This is EV Electric. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button. You won't regret it, man. It's like being late for a cruise ship. They are already leaving the dock and you're standing there waving, hoping someone will see you. They're not going to see you, but if you hit subscribe before, you're going to be on the cruise ship and we're going to leave and we're going to have one hell of a time. Get on board, dang it. We're going to have a fun and exciting video, you guys. We're going to go over some of the weird settings in the Tesla Model 3. These are just anything other than the basic settings that anyone would understand. So what this is geared for is this is for new owners, people considering a Tesla, I don't know, just looking for some entertainment. We're just going to go over some of these settings. I'm going to explain them a little bit because some of them are kind of, you know, they don't tell you enough. It's just a setting that you might turn on and off and it doesn't tell you anything. So right off the bat, we've got the beautiful, I should probably hit record over here. Only thing I really want to talk about here under lights is auto high beam. This is literally what it sounds like. If you hit this on, it won't do it. You have to go to the handle right here and you have to turn your high beams on like you were going to turn them on, but it'll have a little auto up here on the screen. Let's do that now. So you could see by pushing the high beam on the turn signal beam, you get auto high beam. Now it's enabled. Before it's not. So keep that in mind. By turning on auto high beam, you are not turning on auto high beam. You need to turn it on here. Now it's on. Now it's ready. Good to know. Now we have locks. This is a very interesting one because the locks are kind of the weirdest part of the car for new owners. Yes, your phone is the key. And if you have a key fob or key card, don't even bother. Use the key. Use the phone as the key. And you could see all the devices we have. We have 2 key cards connected, but look how many devices, and we could keep on going. So that's pretty cool. And what you do to pair this device is you have the key card in the car and you have your phone and you just add a device right here and you go through the easy steps to pair your device. This will do all the things you need to do with the car, locking and unlocking when you exit the car. On this note, I want to talk about something that's very important to me after I made a video on it. You'll notice my unlock on park is off. And you might say, Taylor, why do you have that off? When you're in park, I always hit the park button and it unlocks the door for everyone. Yeah, that's the point. It unlocks the door for everyone, including people you don't want in the car. I went through it in Inglewood. I had people who I don't want in the car try and get in the car. So I have that off. Which means if I lock the door right now, even if I push on the brake or whatever, and someone's trying to open my door, they can't open it until I tap that button. Very important to me. Hopefully very important to you, mostly if you are around a weird city or a weird area you're not familiar with. Next thing we're going to talk about is display. I always have it on auto. There's a hair on my hand. I always have it on auto, but you could see this is day and night. Now we're back to day. Obviously that's self-explanatory. But what I want to talk about here is the confusing energy display. Energy or distance, what does this mean? All this is this is the percentage right here. And the other things you're going to see is going to be in percent rather than miles. So let's go to distance. 219 miles. So when you're on distance, it says right here 219 miles. But I've noticed it's not actually 219 miles. This is a whole confusing topic that Tesla owners love to rant about and argue about. And I really don't know what decides this 219 miles. Are they considering degradation? Are they considering your driving habits? Are they considering your altitude, temperature, location? Who the hell knows? You want to know the best way around it? Put it on energy, get percent. Why would you look at your smartphone in minutes left to use. When you turn the brightness up all the way, it's going to totally throw that number off. Or when you're using a heavy app, let's say you have 20 minutes left, it's going to burn through that 20 minutes in 5 minutes. So let's view it on percent, just like your phone. Oh no, I'm at 20% on my phone. I need to charge soon. Oh no, I'm at 20% on my car. I need to charge soon. Let's not make it complicated now, eh? There's my Canadian in me, eh? Irish Canadian. Moving on. Driving and autopilot are probably the weirdest areas, and I'm glad we're talking about it now. Acceleration, chill and standard. All that means is if you go into chill, your car is going to be limited in acceleration, but it will still reach the top speed. It will just take forever. Standard means your car is unlocked to its full potential. When you hit that gas, it's going how it says it's going to go. Not limited or anything like that. Regen braking, if you do not like regen braking or you're trying to get used to regen braking, I'd recommend you to just start in low for a little bit and slowly work your way into standard. Now there's really no slow way to do it. You just hit standard or low. But low will give you that feeling where you keep on coasting like a regular car. Standard will do that regen braking where it'll hit the brakes when you release off the gas. Or accelerator, excuse me. That's a touchy subject. Stopping mode, we have the creep. Woo! This guy's always creeping, and you know what that means? This is the perfect mode for being a creep. If you want to creep on someone, you turn on creep, because when you release off the gas pedal or accelerator, it'll slowly creep forward, so you can kind of stalk someone. It's a great one for if someone's walking in front of you and you want to just, be quiet behind them where they can't tell. Turn off those lights by using quick control, and then turn on creep, and you can slowly creep around. Now, roll is going to be the opposite of creep. It's actually just going to, if your foot is not on the brake, it is just going to let your car roll. Kind of like a gas car, but in a way a little bit more sketchy, because if you're on an uphill and you're not hitting the brake, yeah, you're rolling backwards. And hold, my personal favorite, is if you are off the gas or off the brake, it will put it in hold when you get to a stop, and you can just rest your feet and enjoy. Have fun, kick back, crack a beer. If you're not driving, of course. Actually, no, don't crack a beer. You're in a car. Just imagine a cop pulling up if you're cracking a beer on hold mode. And the final thing I want to talk about on driving is slip start. Now, slip start is mostly for you snow and ice people, or sand people. Maybe if you get stuck in sand or ice or snow and mud. The Model 3's traction control is pretty ridiculous, as in like too ridiculous. And if you're stuck, it's going to be pinching the brakes and limiting your power, so you'll never be able to get out, and you need the wheels to slip a little bit. So slip start is somewhat of a help. I've noticed people still are having trouble when they get stuck because slip start still has too much traction control. Or moving on to the confusing section, autopilot in general for non-Tesla owners is a very confusing subject, and knowing that it's customizable on the user's end is even more confusing, because you have two things you don't understand. I don't know how autopilot works, and I sure as hell wouldn't know how to connect and customize autopilot to my liking, because I don't even know anything about it. Well, you're going to know a little bit about it now. Just know autopilot on the uncontrollable end, which is the computer's end, will just drive the car how you set it. And this is some of the stuff we're going to talk about here, how to set it. We have cruise follow distance. Now, what the heck does 3, 4, 1, 2 even mean? Well, those are car lengths, so I would estimate that's about 9 feet. So 9 times 3 is 27, so this will be about 27 feet away from the car in front of you. If you get closer, it'll do 9 feet or about that. I actually notice it's not 1 car distance, it's a car distance and a half, so I'd probably say about 14 feet or so. Next, we have auto steer beta. Navigate on autopilot. I still can't believe these are in beta. This is like Fortnite where it's still in developer mode or whatever, so they can change it however they want. But auto steer literally is autopilot. Like, that's auto steering your car in the lane. Navigate on autopilot is a little bit more crazy. This is where you can exit the lane automatically. So auto steer is keeping you in that lane automatically. Navigate on autopilot is breaking the boundaries a little bit, where it's going to change out of the lane if someone slow is in front of you. Of course, you can go in to customize these settings. This is a bit self-explanatory though, so you can kind of see that. Mad Max is just higher than average, which means it's going to change the lanes very fast, which it still doesn't change the lanes too fast. Apparently it's been fixed in an update though, so who knows, I could be wrong. Now we have Summon Beta. This is basically just going on your phone and you can move the car on your phone with nobody in it, and these settings are here to customize it. These are pretty self-explanatory. Enable standby mode. This basically means Summon is going to sit on, waiting and ready for you. What that also means is that it's going to consume a little bit of battery because you have something on and ready. Anything on and ready in this car, like dash cam, Sentry mode, it's going to be using up some battery. Moving on to one of my favorite features, because the Tesla can be a little bit user demanding, we'll put it. So even while you're driving, I notice I'm looking at the screen quite a bit, mostly on navigation or something like that, and it's a bit of an angle where your eyes are completely off the road. So forward collision warning is definitely one of my favorite. All this means is that it's gonna beep aggressively at you if something is stopped in front of you and you're still rocking and rolling, moving on into the person in front of you. It's gonna warn you. This is to set how early, late, whatever it's gonna warn you. Personally, I love medium because late is a little bit too late and it warns me a little bit too close. I like to be warned early, but early is gonna chime at every little thing. If there's a dog walking on the road, it's gonna chime at it and say you're about to hit it. So I love medium because it actually is pretty accurate and it warns you pretty well. It gives you enough time to hit the brakes if needed. Lane departure avoidance. What this is it'll warn you, or it'll correct your steering if you're drifting off out of the lane. What this means also is you have to use your turn signal every single time. If you do not use your turn signal, it may assist you back into the lane, or it may warn you when you're leaving. It drives me crazy if I don't use my turn signal, so I just have it off. Now, another great setting is emergency lane departure avoidance. This will correct your steering if you are drifting out of the lane. Have I ever had this happen to me while I'm driving? No, I've even tried to test it too, and I've taken my hand off the wheel, I've checked my mirror, and I let it drift into the lane, and it did absolutely nothing. So, I don't know, but I have it on just in case. Automatic emergency braking. This means if there is an emergency needed to hit the brakes, it will hit the brakes, and forward collision warning and automatic emergency braking are like best friends because it will warn you and it will hit the brake just in case. I've noticed it actually doesn't work too often, but I will admit I have been looking down at my screen one time, going straight into an exit, going too fast because my attention is drawn away, and this has saved me from rear-ending the hell out of someone. So thank you, emergency braking. I need to concentrate on the road more. But I'm admitting it, and I'm letting you guys know that this has actually helped me. So turn it on, dang it. It doesn't, I mean, what do you want? You want it off? Doesn't do anything if it's on, so just turn it on and it'll save you when it does need to do something. Anyways, obstacle aware acceleration. If an obstacle is in front of you, like let's say a tire's in the road or something, or a metal crate or something like that, it will either accelerate or decelerate to accommodate for this object. Have I ever seen this work when I've hit tires in the road? No. So I have no idea. I have it on just in case, but I've never seen it work. Navigation, you're probably saying, what in the heck is that volume bar up there? Why do I care about it? That's the volume that controls the nice lady who talks to you when you do navigation. Personally, I have her muted, but it literally doesn't say what that is. So that's what it is. Moving on to safety and security. Wow, I feel so safe on this topic, on this tab. Power off. This is probably something you'll never really need, but it's kind of like a hard reset. You can turn the car off, but you can only turn it off while you're in the car kind of sitting there. I've heard where you can turn it off and quickly close the door and it will shut the whole car down and leave it off. I don't recommend it. You really shouldn't do that. It's really just meant for kind of like a hard reset. Sentry mode. All this talks about is, do I want Sentry mode on in these locations or not? Format USB device. If you are using Sentry mode or dash cam to use it, you need a USB in there, in your car, right down here in the center console. All this is the ability to format that USB. You can do it in the car now, fixed by an update. Pretty cool. When you think of Joe mode, you think of shh. All these settings are so loud, these chimes, these beeps. Obstacle awareness, when you're driving close to something, it beeps and chimes, and oh, your kid is upset back there. He's crying because there's all these beeping sounds and he's trying to sleep, and you just want the kid to be quiet. You turn on Joe mode. As you can see, I don't have anyone I need to be quiet, so that's why it's off. Security alarm. You want an alarm or not? Turn it on. Cabin overheat protection. You have 3 options here, but we all know what off is. That means it's not going to do it. On or on with AC. So if you have no AC, all this is going to do is it's going to turn on the air, the fan, and it's going to suck air in from the outside world and spit it into the car. This does not use AC, so it helps not use the coolant, and it also, I'm pretty sure it helps with power too, I've heard. So if you want to use a little bit less power, you use no AC, is what I've heard. But I like to have my interior cool the fastest, so I have it on with AC. What this does is at 104 degrees, it will turn on the AC and bring it back down to, I think, 90, and it'll go up, and then it'll turn it back on and turn it back down, because 104 is a great temperature, because when you start getting higher than that, I don't know, it's just more of a risk for damage of the car with stuff getting so hot that's not meant to get so hot. And data sharing is, do you want to share this data to Tesla? Yes. Do you want to share the camera that's in this car looking at me right now to Tesla? I'm not too comfortable with that. I'm going to hit no. God knows what I'm doing in the back seat, and I don't want anybody looking. This is what I'm doing when nobody's looking. I'm drinking coffee. Drink the bottom of the pot and it just like, it hits different. I'll tell you that. Okay, moving on to towing. This is a weird setting. This actually enables you to get out of neutral or get in neutral when you are not in the car, when you are towing it up on a flatbed. What you could also do is not use tow mode, and you can sit in the car, put it in neutral while the guy pulls you up the tow truck, and then you put it back in park and you're good. But I recommend using tow mode. Most people don't want you in the car or anywhere near the situation, and if the guy has no idea what he's doing, you say, here's tow mode, we're now in neutral, I can get out of the car, you can tow it up. If you just put it in neutral, you're going to be in park when you get out of the car, and it will remove it from neutral. Just know that. Very confusing. I don't want to say stupid, but it's a stupid thing how neutral isn't actually neutral and you can't utilize it. Like, what's the point of neutral if you're sitting in the car and you need to like get yourself out of something or push your own car or something? I don't know. It drives me crazy sometimes. I'm sorry, guys. Now, software, this is actually kind of the general page where you can see what's going on. I have standard connectivity, I have enhanced autopilot, it kind of tells you what's going on, and then the bottom part is actually software. So there you go, that's what software I'm on. And standard and advanced is, do I want the most advanced, possibly buggy updates, but update me as soon as possible? I make content, so of course I want that. If you have standard, it's you're the last one, and if there's any bugs, it's corrected, and usually by the time you get it, it's bug free. No bugs on my windshield, no bugs in my update. Now we're going to finish up on Bluetooth. This is a pretty interesting setting because a lot of people get confused. Bluetooth is only for music, only for text messages. Connecting a Bluetooth device is not going to let people control your car. Who on earth is Sabrina? And why is she connected to my car? We're going to dump you. Bye, Sabrina. Well, you guys, that is gonna sum this up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're a new owner, please comment down below if you have any more questions on this topic or anything. I kind of did go in depth on the most confusing things for you that might need explanation, things that I didn't know when I was a pre-owner. So now you know how much more is in this little car with nothing, no buttons, just a screen. There's so much behind this. It's crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for hitting that like and subscribe button. You know I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.